A very blessed day, everyone. Greetings to you in the name of the Father, the Creator, the Most High, Allah, Yah, Yod-He-Vahu-He, Elohim, God in our modern day name, and in the name of the Lord Thoth, Melchizedek, Jehovah. This is Neophyte DAG bringing you another message. And in this message, we're going to continue with, have you read your riders and your addendum to your contract with the Most High and the Lord Thoth, Melchizedek? Have you read them? And if you have read them, or if you have not read them, we're going to read them today and understand what they are. Riders and addendum to the contract that we signed through our fathers, all our forefathers, all the way from Noah, through Moses, through Abraham, Isaac. It's still the same contracts, still the same riders that is governing our life right now. So let's read these riders and addendums. 3 riders, 2 addendums. First, let's cover the 3 riders that the Most High made with us. The house of Israel, the children of Israel, the house of Jacob, the children of Jacob, the house of Judah. These I'm talking to right now are the dark-skinned melanated people across the entire planet. But the main ones are covered in the United States of America. Then we move to the Caribbean, we move to South America, we move to Central America. So let's read these riders. What is a rider? A condition or provision added to something already said or something already passed by a law. That's what decreed mean. It's already made a law and there's something added to that law. That's a rider. So that's what we're going to cover, what was added to the law that we covered the last time, which we need to know now. Rider 1, you're going to celebrate yearly a feast of SHEBUOT to renew the contract that you made with the Most High. There are 4 times throughout the year you're going to confirm and reconfirm this contract that you made with the Most High. And that's covered in the book of Jubilees 6, verse 17 through 25, the feast of SHEBUOT. It is ordained that you have to reconfirm that contract that you signed where it says you're not going to eat those meat of beast, flesh, cattle. You're not going to eat them, and you have to reconfirm that contract every 4 times throughout the year. It's written and it's ordained on the heavenly tablets and to be observed by the children of Israel, the feast of SHEBUOT, in order to renew the covenant year by year. In order to renew the covenant year by year. So the covenant has to be renewed. You make it and you renew it every year. That's what I want to bring to your attention. So not only the agreement was made, you're going to reconfirm your agreement of it year by year, 4 times throughout each year. Abraham kept it, Isaac and Jacob kept it, the sons of them kept it, until our day. It was forgotten. Everyone kept it, but it was forgotten at our time. But in the days of the children of Israel, we forgot it. We did not renew it. And that's what I want to bring to you in this rider, that we need to go back to renewing our contract. Not only following and obeying and practicing, but renewing it as well. And you command the children of Israel so that they might keep this feast in all their generation, which cover our generation now. The feast has to be kept. So that's why I'm bringing it back to your attention. Observe it. Observe it. Observe this feast. This is because I have written it in the books of the first law that I made with you, which I wrote it out for you. You shall not eat flesh of beasts and birds and all the other things you're consuming now, even fish, because you should go back to Genesis 1 verse 29, which says, herbs, trees, fruits that are all seeded shall be your meat. 4 times per year, you have to reconfirm that you're practicing it. We go down to verse 23 of Jubilee 6. And on the first of the first month, the first of the 4th month, the first of the 7th month, the first of the 10th month are the days of remembrance, when you need to reconfirm that agreement that you made. Noah made it on our behalf, all his generation. Abraham kept it, Isaac kept it, Jacob kept it. Now you at this present time need to keep it in order to move your energy back in agreement with the energy of the Most High and the Lord. They are written, these rules are written and inscribed for eternal witness. So someone witnessed it for you forever, saying you're going to do it. So these are not temporary things. These are eternal things that you have to move back to. The feast of SHEBUOT, 4 times throughout the year, the first of the first month, the first of the 4th month, the first of the 7th month, the first of the 10th month, but it's not the month in the order in which we know the months as right now. That was changed by man who wanted to throw you off track later on, but we'll get into that. What is the first month? It's not a mystery, it's in your Bible. Esther 3 verse 7, in the first month, that is the month of NISAN. So whatever is a month of NISAN is your first month. When you do the research that I did for you on the right-hand side, NISAN, Hebrew calendar, it is the first month of the ecclesiastic year and the 7th month of the civil calendar year. 2 calendars that are kept for us. One is a lunar calendar, one is a solar calendar. The ecclesiastic year, that's the lunar year. The civil is the solar year. It's also, the NISAN is also called the Aviv and the Abib. It's also mentioned in the book of Exodus, but we go back to our book now, the Torah. It's called Aviv. The Torah is the first 5 books of your Holy Bible right now. That's the Torah. NISAN usually falls on March or April on the Gregorian calendar, which the Roman Catholic gave us when they changed our information. That's why you don't know your contract and you don't know the writer, because they changed it and gave you a different calendar, putting you on a different system. So our first month of NISAN falls on either April or March of their month, the changer's month, the liar's month, the deceptor's month. That's what I want to bring to you. So let's go back to our own month. NISAN, this is our calendar on the right-hand side. Hebrew calendar, Hebrew lunar calendar. On the left-hand side of that calendar, that is the lunar month lineup. Right next to it, where is the civil? That's the solar month lineup. So when we're talking about a lunar calendar, you'll use the lineup that starts from 1 through 12. When we're talking about a solar calendar, 7 goes down to 12, then it starts from 1 to 6 because our solar calendar begins on the 7th month of the lunar calendar, which is called Tishri. So this is what I want to present to you, where the Gregorians on the right-hand side now changed up our calendar. Throw you off schedule so you wouldn't know how to properly find your days and know when to celebrate those 4 months that it tells you need to celebrate. The first of those 4 months, that's why you were thrown off course. Lost track of what you need to do and when you need to do it. But no more shall we be fooled. For your convenience, I have calculated when is the first of the first month of the lunar calendar, the ecclesiastical calendar. On the right-hand side of the screen, that's the lunar calendar for the April 2022. Because your new year, your NISAN, normally falls between March and April, the new year period for our calendar. April 2nd, 2022, that's the first day of your lunar calendar. So that's the first day you shall make your SHEBUOT feast to show the Most High, yes, I'm following that law that you had given us, that we should not eat and do all these things. And this is the first. I'm going to do it out of the other 3 times that I need to do it throughout the year. But that's how you determine your time of celebration. You'll go to all the other months here. It says Nisan, that's the first month. What's the 4th one? Tammuz. What's the 7th one? Tishri. What's the 10th one? Tevet. So you'll match up those months in the Gregorian and find out in the lunar calendar when is the first day of your moon in those months. That's how you figure it out. That's how you make your move back to what the Most High and the Lord and you and your ancestors, your forefathers have agreed to celebrate and honor and observe your agreement and renew it with the Lord and with the Most High, Allah, Yah, Yod, He, Vahwe, Elohim. Hebrew lunar calendar. This is it. This is your calendar. Not the Gregorian on the right-hand side. Your information is on the left-hand side, the ecclesiastical year and the civil/solar year. That's when, and that's what you want to tie your celebration days to. Which brings us to the Lord Thoth, Melchizedek, who has given us these agreements to hold us close to the laws and the will and the power of the Most High and of the Lord. But the Lord was removed from our information, so we lost track of the Lord and the agreements and who was making the agreements with us. That's why you'll hear me say the Lord Thoth, Melchizedek, Jehovah, because Thoth and Melchizedek were the same. They left a few references of Melchizedek in the Bible, but Thoth was taken out of the Holy Bible. Why wouldn't he be mentioned in a Hebrew Bible when he's the first month of a Hebrew solar calendar? Why? Look at the calendar. English, starting from the left-hand side of the screen. English, what is he called for the first month? Thoth Aktet. That's the first month of the solar calendar, which is the 7th month of the lunar calendar. Thoth. The Greeks know it. Look to the right. The Greek called him Thoth as well in their calendar. The Coptic, which are the Ethiopians, call him Thoth as well. That's why I keep telling you, Thoth, Melchizedek, Jehovah, because Thoth was the Egyptian Lord that they wrote in the Bible, but they changed his name. They changed it from Thoth. They removed the H, change the O to A and give you that. But he was known to all of them, but they had to draw you away from that energy so you don't know someone is there that who's looking out for you and who's going to save you and pull you away from the Egyptians, which are the Americans in our time. Your Hebrew calendar, Thoth is in it. The Greek calendar, Thoth is in it. The Coptic calendar, which is the Ethiopian calendar, Thoth is in it. Don't believe me? Let's go to the Coptic calendar. Let's look at it. Thoth, the first month. Maskaram. Thoth. That's why they celebrate him every September 11th. That's why they bomb the buildings on September 11th to take away the energy from the Lord's day. Listen and learn well. Gregorian calendar, September 11th. That's the first day of Thoth. Melchizedek, Jehovah. Listen and learn as to all the trickery that's going on just to deceive you and keep you away from that energy of the Lord Thoth. But when our forefathers were in Egypt, they knew it. The Ethiopians knew it. The Greek knew it. The Romans knew it, but they changed it so you wouldn't know it. And ye are not as the children of Ethiopians. Are you not like them? O children of Israel, you are the same as them. That's why they both celebrate Thoth, the first day of the solar calendar. Thoth, Hebrew. Thoth, Coptic Ethiopians. Thoth, September 11th. That's the first day of the month of Thoth. The solar new year. Children of Israel, children of Ethiopian, celebrating it the same day. Is it coincidence? No. Thoth was both known as the Lord to everyone across all nations until the Romans, the Christians, the Catholics came in and changed it to something else. Why did they change it? Why did they change it? Why? They know and they know about Melchizedek Thoth in the Old Testament. When they wrote the New Testament, they took him out. When they rewrote the Old Testament, they took him out. Not before Abraham, because Abraham knew Thoth and he knew who he was. But after Abraham time, because they were put in a position to acknowledge that there's a superior power watching out for the children of Israel. A superior Lord looking out for Israel, the children of Israel, the dark-skinned, melanated people. So they rub him out. So you wouldn't know that the Lord, who's the exact Lord and whose name you need to call so you can extract that energy that belongs to the children of Israel. So they changed it on you and give you that instead of Thoth. But no matter how much you try to hide the Lord, he shall not stay hidden. The Lord Thoth, Melchizedek, shall not stay hidden. He appeared again in 1799 when they found the Rosetta Stone. The Rosetta Stone was written in two languages, in Egyptian language and in the Greek language. And in that stone, they translated it to our language of English in our modern day. In Decree 19 that was written on the stone, it talks about Thoth. So he popped up again. So they had to deal with how we're going to hide him again by giving you another meaning and pulling you away from the true meaning of the stone. 19 decree, in former days, he has done all things. That's Thoth. In the right and proper way. That's Thoth. And he has taken care of to administer justice. That's Thoth. To administer justice on behalf of the house of Israel. Justice to the people. Like Thoth, the great, great God. Like Thoth, the great, great God. Like Thoth, the great, great God. Written by the Egyptian, written in Greek language as well, when the Greeks went in and conquered Egypt. They knew that Thoth, again, was the great, great God of the Egyptians, the people of Israel, the people of Jacob, the people of Judah. They knew it, and they had to hide it from you. So it was taken away again out of your sight, so you would not know these things. Decree 26, Thoth and Horus. Thoth is the Lord Melchizedek. Horus is Louis. Israel, that's the code name for Horus. Israel, which is also Louis, the Messiah, the Savior, the Messiah, the Son of Man in our time. That's Horus. That's Thoth. And they, both of them combine right now in our time as they did in the past time in Egypt. They made among those who rebelled against them and rebelled against the word of the Most High, they shall make them pay for what they have done to the children and the house of Israel, and for rebelling against the word of the Most High. That's why you're having the judgment now, where the Thoth, Melchizedek, comes back to redeem his people. And he's here with Horus, which is Louis, the Messiah, the Son of Man. That's where, again, the Hebrew calendar comes in. Thoth, he was the Lord of Egypt, the great, great God, the great, great Lord of Egypt. The Greek know it. That's why they made the Rosetta Stone in two languages, in Egyptian language, in Greek, because the Greek know what I'm telling you. The Romans came in, conquered the Greeks, and hid the whole thing from you. Didn't stay hidden for long. We still go back to the decree in the Rosetta Stone, Decree 50, the land from the first of Thoth, the first of the month Thoth. Let's go back here, the first month, the month Aket Thoth. That's the month of Thoth. The first of Thoth is the first day of Thoth. That's your solar new year. On our modern day calendar, the Gregorian calendar, it's September 11th. That's your solar new year. It was celebrated here during the Egyptian time. First day of the month Thoth. 5 days we're going to celebrate that New Year's for. 5 days we're going to give our sanctification, our praise to the Lord Thoth on his day, because it was a major Egyptian calendar event. Can't keep him hidden for long. He's coming up again. You can't keep him hidden for long. He's coming up again. He's coming up again. Isaiah 42:8. I am the Lord. Thoth is my name, and my glory I will not give to any other, neither my praise to any molten or graven images. That Jesus image that you got, that white Jesus on the cross, he will not give his praise to that image, because he is the Lord. Thoth is my name, not that is my name, the change that they made to your Bible. That's the change I've been telling you about. Thoth is my name. The Egyptian would have known his name, because your Bible, your Torah, was taken out of the Egyptian Bible. So they would have known Thoth, the great, great God, is his name, not that. And it could never ever mean that Lord is his name. Lord is a title. It's not a name. Every Lord that you will hear of has a name that comes after Lord. Even Lord Farquhar in Shrek has a name that comes after Lord. So it can't be Lord, that is my name. I am the Lord Thoth. Beside me there is no other Savior for Israel, the house of Israel, the children of Israel, the house of Jacob, the children of Jacob, the house of Judah, the children of Judah. No other Savior but I, the Lord Thoth. That's why I'm telling you, and I always say to you, praise to the Lord Thoth, Melchizedek, Jehovah, because I'm going back to the Egyptian era, which is where the Hebrew was in its pure form, not tainted by the Greeks, not tainted and changed and manipulated by the Roman Catholics. No, it was in its pure form, and they knew without any doubt, Thoth, the great, great God, the great, great Netta of the Egyptian, he is the Lord, the begotten Son of the Most High. Allah, Yah, Yod, He, Va'uhe, Elohim, God in our modern day name. Listen and learn, O children of Israel, children of Judah, children of Jacob. The book of the dead, written by Thoth, Melchizedek, talks about you. It's for you. You are the dead at this time that he wrote the book for, so you can resurrect and know that he's resurrecting you. What is dead? Dead is a necro. A necro, those that are dead. One that is dead. They changed the C to a G and gave you Negro to hide the identification of you from your own self. That's a Negro, a dead. The book of the Negro, it's your records hidden in the British Museum, hidden in the vaults of the Vatican, hidden in all kind of vaults, hiding your information based on those who did Psalms 83, conglomerate against you, O house of Israel, house of Judah, house of Jacob, your information given back to you. This is your book. Thoth, the author of the book of dead, Thoth, believed by your ancestors, the Egyptians, to have been the heart and the mind of the Creator. That's why I'm telling you, He's the Lord. The Egyptians know it, the Romans know it, the Greeks know it, the British know it, the French know it, the Portuguese know it, everybody know it, the Spaniards know it. They hid your information from you. Thoth was also the tongue. He was the speaker, the voice of the Creator. He at all time voiced the willpower, the will of Yod-Heh-Vahu-Heh, Elohim, God in our modern day name, the Creator. And He spoke the words which commanded every being and everything in heaven and on earth and in earth. Earth is America, to come into existence. So all that is happening now, where you think it's man doing this, CERN and HARP and the political leaders and that, no, He's bringing them to fight each other. He's bringing them to hate each other. He's bringing them to provoke each other. And all the calamities that are happening around you, it's orchestrated by the Most High and given to the Lord Thoth to execute. His words were almighty. He was ordained by the Almighty, so His words are almighty. He framed the laws which are in heaven and in earth, which is America, and on earth, which is the entire planet. And all the heavenly bodies are maintained, all the stars, the moons, the celestials are maintained by Thoth, Melchizedek, Jehovah. Jehovah is same as Jehovah. I'm just not using the J because the J was created by the Romans to throw you off the scent. He ordered the course of the sun, the moon, the stars. So all the alliances you see going on now, He's maintaining it. The last one that we've seen is the Pluto return, 2022. He's orchestrating that. He's orchestrating the Red Kachina moving from its normal course and heading to this planet, Earth, which is America, and Earth, which is the whole planet. He invented drawing, designs, arts, the letters of the alphabet, not the man-made one. The Hebrew alphabet I'm talking about, going back to your Egyptian teaching. Hebrew is your original language. That's the language, the divine language that connects the other 4 languages. 5 divine languages. 2 are vertical, 2 are horizontal. The one in the middle which connects them, that's the Hebrew. Listen and learn, O children of Israel, children of Jacob, children of Judah. The science of mathematics that is given to us by the Lord Thoth, Melchizedek, Jehovah. Your sacred geometry, your divine law geometry, all your math is given by Him. You just lost knowledge of it, but it's given by Him. He gave it on to the children of Israel, the children of Jacob, and especially the children of Judah, because they had impeccable memory to memorize and retain all that was spoken unto them. So they remembered it all. He implanted it in your DNA, your RNA, which is of 64 characters of the Most High, YHWH, Yod-Heh-Vahu-Heh. Listen and learn, O children of Israel. He was the inventor of the physical and the moral law. That's why I can tell you about the 5 divine laws which came from above. God said, not man said in the 5 divine law. Be fruitful, multiply, subdue everything by land, sea, and air, subdue them all. And he blessed you, O children of Israel, and he said, fruits, trees, evergreen herbs, that's the only thing that shall be meat for you. That's the only thing that should be passing through your mouth into your stomach as food. He was appointed to weigh into the balance of the words and the actions, the deeds of all men, of all women. That's why we're going through the judgment now. That's why we're going through the judgment now, because we're being weighed in the balance to see if our words were good, if our deeds were good, if our thoughts were good. And that's what we call the great judgment. Oh, children of Israel, listen and learn. Children of Jacob, listen and learn. Children of Judah, listen and learn. The book of the dead, we're not done with that book as yet, because it's your book. Look at you on page 7. Look at you. Do those look like Caucasian people? Aren't those black people, my dark-skinned melanated people? Isn't that you on the page? Isn't that a description of you locked up in the British Museum, locked up in all kind of places, your records taken away from you so you won't know who you are? Isn't that you? British Museum, number 10470, locked up in there. It's 78 feet in length, 1 foot 3 inches in breadth. That's your carving up in there, locked up, and you won't know unless you go there, or it's knocked out, or the Most High have them reveal it now. All information has to come forth. Isn't this you, my people? Isn't it you, Southern Egyptian Gallery, number 758, locked up in the British Museum? Isn't that you Thoth is writing about? Book of the Dead, isn't it you? 1050 BC, wasn't long ago. You, O children of Israel, children of Judah, children of Jacob, my Egyptian forefathers, you. Isn't those black people, isn't those people of color depicted in Egypt, depicted and locked up in the British Museum? Isn't it you? Tell me it's not you. Tell me it's not you. Isn't it you again? Isn't it you? British Museum Peace 9901. Oh, children of Israel, isn't that you? Royal scribe, ceremony of the opening of the mouth. Royal scribe. Aren't you those people depicted in Egypt? Isn't it you? Do those look like Caucasian people? Do they look like it? No, they're people of color. Your history locked up in vaults and museum, and I'm here trying to convince you it's you because they've done such a good job hiding it and beating you down to let you think you're nothing and only nothing. No, it's your history they have captured, and they've used your knowledge to enrich themselves, to empower themselves, and the Most High and the Lord. It's taking it back. In his great judgment, he's measuring their deeds, he's measuring their words, he's measuring their thoughts, and he's tearing it down. Isn't this you, O children of Israel, my dark-skinned melanated Hebrews? Isn't this you? Does this look like Ashkenaz that set up himself in that man-made Israel when Israel is not a country? It's a man, the messenger, the Son of Man, who's supposed to come bearing the same complexion that you're seeing on your screen and free his people because he's attached to the Horus energy. He's attached to the Osiris energy. That is the Son of Man at that time, and he's our Son of Man now in our time. Lewis, that's the Son of Man. J, that's the Son of Man. Armstrong, Louis J. Armstrong, that's the Son of Man in our time. Be not fooled, O children of Israel. Listen and learn. Peace 104470. Isn't that you? We're not done yet. They have a whole bunch of stuff locked up. Your information. Peace 10470 again. The son of Isis, including the scribe to Osiris, dark-skinned, melanated people, writing your history, waiting for you now to wake up from the dead, to reclaim your history, your position on this planet. It shall happen whether you wake or not, because you shall be woken up. Whether they want you to wake or not, you shall be woken up, because Thoth, the Lord Melchizedek, will wake you up. O Jacob, O Israel, O Judah, isn't this you on the screen? Dark-skinned, black people in our modern day word, melanated people, isn't that you? Tell me it's not you. In the British Museum, locked up, this is only one book, the Book of Dead, countless number of books locked up depicting you. You were kept from that information, and now the Lord Thoth is coming back. That's why I'm coming back and telling you about the law, the covenant, the agreement that he made with you when you were here in Egypt at that time. You were there. You were there. He's making agreements with our forefathers, and they made it so it lasts for generation to generation, which brings it now to your time. Isn't this you? Your law, your covenant, your agreement, the books of the Bible were written by dark-skinned, melanated people, black people, for dark-skinned, melanated people, black people at this time. I am the Lord. Thoth is my name. I am the Lord. Thoth is my name, and my glory will I not give to another, neither shall I praise that image they set up and give to you, that white Jesus, because I know there is no white Jesus, says the Lord, because the book was written by dark-skinned melanated people for dark-skinned melanated people, so I will not bow down to that graven image, no matter how high you hang it on your wall, no matter how many churches you put it in, no matter how many times you print it, no matter how many times you flash it across my screen. I will not accept it as anything related to the Egyptian forefathers, nor me and my people at this time. Throw it away, it's trash. No, I shall not bow down to that graven image, because I know my people were people of color that wrote these books and set it up as instructions for me. I am the Lord. Besides me, there is no other Savior. The Lord and Osiris or Horus, which is giving off the energy now within the Son of Man at our time. Louis, that is the Savior, along with his holy angels that are here to do the work of the Most High and the Lord, and free this planet from all this lie and all this wickedness and injustice. They are going to be weighed in the balance. Their deeds, their actions, and their words and their thoughts that has been rendering wickedness against the laws of the Most High, Allah, Yah, Yod-Heh-Vah-Weh, Elohim, God in our modern day name, and in the name of the Lord Thoth, Melchizedek, Jehovah, praise be. And all those who have made those changes and have rebelled against the word of the Lord, they shall feel the consequences of it when Thoth and Horus combine to cleanse the entire America. Be not fooled. Listen and learn. O children of Israel, house of Israel, children of Jacob, house of Jacob, tribe of Judah. Listen and learn. Writer 2, the other changing of information. The year of the feast, the Passover. What is a Passover? We keep hearing Passover. What are you passing over? You're passing from one state of consciousness to another state of consciousness. That's what being celebrated. And it's also capturing moving from one state of consciousness, one state of manifestation of being enslaved, to moving to be freed from your enslavers. That's where you get the story that the children of Israel, the house of Israel, was moved out of Egypt, brought through the Red Sea by the Lord Thoth. But there's a mystical meaning to it. You got to go to the deep meaning, the sod. We won't cover that in this message. But know that Egypt is America. Know that whatever happened in the past shall happen again. History repeats itself. Solomon says there's nothing new under the sun. So we go back to Nisan, your first month of your lunar year. Also in the month of Nisan is the Passover. It's also called the Abib. It's also called the Aviv. Same word for Nisan, but in the Nisan is the Passover, passing from one state of consciousness to another state of consciousness, passing out a time of affliction to time of freedom, joy, and peace, celebrated in the month of Nisan. Deuteronomy 16 verse 1, observe the month of Nisan and keep the Passover in that month. Observe the month of Abib. Keep the Passover in that month. It is the month, it is going to be the month in which the Lord Thoth is going to pull you out of that affliction in America and bring you to a place where you shall no longer be harmed, where man was not given a chance to live in that place because it's an holy place. He'll pull you out of Egypt, America, when the time comes, and you'll know when that time comes. You won't miss that time. Exodus 13 verse 3, and Moses said unto the people, remember this day, the Passover day, because the Lord again brought us out of that affliction that we were in old Egypt, which we are now in new Egypt, America. And he's going to pull you out of that before the natural disasters strike America. This day you came out in the month of Abib. It happened back then that you came out in the month of Abib. It's going to happen again where you come out in the month of Abib. So know the month of Abib. March and April, between those 2 months, that's your Abib. That's your Nisan, when you shall be brought out of whatever affliction in a big way and be brought to a place where you can't be touched. 7 days shall thou eat unleavened bread. Don't think it's a physical bread you're going to eat and fill your body up with all kind of starch from the bread. No, this is not that kind of bread. This is a biblical book. We don't talk about physical bread. Spiritual bread, which is your manna from heaven. Unrelenting bread coming to you right now at this time, because the year has started for it. The bread started pouring out 2021. We're in 2022 now. You're going to get bread until you're sick of bread. Spiritual bread until 2026. So don't fret about this bread going to a store and go buying bread before your Passover. Let the physical beings practice their physical things, and you practice your spiritual things. 7th day shall be the feast of the Lord. Doesn't give you much clarity in your Holy Bible, so I have to take you back to the book of Jubilees. Chapter 49 of that book. Remember the commandment of the Lord commanded you concerning the Passover, that you should observe it in its time on the 14th day of the first month, Nisan. So when you go back to your calendar, which we'll go back to it in a minute, you look at the 14th day of the first month, and that's when you start the celebration, and that celebration should run for 7 days. After that, and on the 7th day, you're going to have the big feast. 7 days of bread, and on the last day, a massive amount of bread. Not the physical bread, not the physical bread. And you remember this day all the days of your life and observe it year to year. So why aren't we observing it now? You're not a part of the children of Israel? Aren't you a part of the children of Israel? If you're saying you are part of those melanated people that are drawing this energy, you were the ones who were afflicted, and now you're coming out of your affliction. You were the ones who were put into slavery, and you're coming out of slavery. Then why aren't you celebrating this year to year? Because it was taken from us, and now is the time where all that was hidden has become unhid. All that was in the dark and unseen is now being seen. Pull back your energy. Go back to your energy days, the days that are made for you. Once per year you shall celebrate this, because it's an eternal decree. It's an eternal law, an eternal agreement that I've made with you, engraved upon the heavenly tablets. So this is not something made, man-made in the physical world on third dimension. No, it's a spiritual decree, a spiritual agreement that was made with you and the Most High and the Lord. From all the children of Israel, which are the ones who went under slavery for 400 years and are taking themselves now gradually out of that enslavement. And the Lord is going to work his great sign to end that slavery. They might observe it each and every year, once per year in all their generation, in all the generation of the children of Israel. You have to observe it. It's ordained forever, not temporarily. So you can go back to it when you want to, but you have to go back to it to make sure that you're drawing in that energy that's associated with it, and you are following the laws, the decree, the statutes of the Most High, most especially the agreement, the covenant that was made with the Most High. Moses command the children of Israel, so they shall keep the feast of unleavened bread, the feast of unleavened spiritual light. That's what bread means. During those 7 days to rejoice, make a joyful noise unto the Lord, all ye lands. Serve him with gladness. Come before his presence with singing. That's what it's telling you to do, children of Israel, children of Jacob, children of Judah. Let's talk about bread, because we keep hearing bread, and we don't know what bread is. Unleavened bread, and you're going to buy a whole bunch of bread, go to whatever store you go to, go buy bread and eat it. No! Exodus 16, verse 4 describes the bread for you. And the Lord said unto Moses, behold, I will rain bread from the heavens for you. So you don't have to go out and buy any bread, because it's raining down on you. It's just in the unseen, and you have to believe, and that energy will reach you. That's the bread that he's talking about. Unleavened. It's unstoppable. It's coming to you in large quantity, and you shall open up yourself to receive that bread. And then you shall go out and be gathered in that exodus that's coming, and you shall be gathered. You shall gather up all that energy that's raining down on you. But you have to go back to walk into the law of the Most High. Walk into the covenant that you made with the Most High. Law of love, your 5 divine laws, which the Most High said, well, I'm going to fix up 4 of those 5. All you have to do to make sure you can attune to those 4, stop eating meat, start your dairy, your processed sugar, go back to eating vegetables, fruits, herbs shall be your meat. That's what your contract says. And then you pull in now the energy, the 7 energies of the Thoth principle. Vibration, rhythm, those are the 2 most important. And then the 2 statutes, which we're going to cover in a few minutes. Now, do you still think we're talking about bread that you bake in an oven without yeast or baking powder? Do you still think that's what we're talking about? No, that's not what we're talking about. After this manner, therefore pray you, our Father, which art, knowledge and wisdom is in heaven. Allah be thy name. Allah be thy name, not hallowed be thy name. Your name can't be hallowed. Allah be your name. Your kingdom come. Your will be done in America, earth, as it is in heaven. Give the house of Israel, the children of Israel, the house of Jacob, the children of Jacob, the house of Judah, the children of Judah, this day our daily bread, our daily high spiritual light. That is your bread. Your higher spiritual consciousness, your light as a spiritual being, because this is a prayer for and by a spiritual person first, then a physical person second. So you're not asking for bread baked in an oven without yeast or without any of the other things that you put in your bread, but you're asking for your spiritual blessing, your light, because you are a light being first, a physical being second. That's your bread, your unleavened bread, your bread that's not changed by anyone, including your Christian religion, your customs, and all the other things you bring into your life that Lucifer and his disciples give you to move you away from the true bread that you're asking for. I shall rain bread down on you in the time that's coming forth, where you shall do your exodus. Bread, spiritual bread, not physical bread. It will happen. All of this is going to happen when the manna of heaven opens up and come down, when the bread of heaven comes down on you, which is now. It's happening. That's why I'm telling you to tune yourself. Get rid of that meat so your body can attune to that energy. That's why you are given meat, because it lowers your vibration. You're vibrating at 150 when you're eating meat. Starch, dairy, 150 when you go back to plants, trees, herbs, the natural ones, the organic ones. You're vibrating at 500 and above. That's why you are given your meat. And that's why the Lord is telling you, you need to follow my law, my agreement, saying you're going to eat vegetables, fruit, and herbs so you can vibrate to my energy. So he's giving you something that's going to benefit you so you can get all that you're getting. Because he wants you to eat. When the manna comes, when the bread comes, he wants you to eat, because he says they're going to do the things that I told them to do, and they're going to eat. In the years 2022 to 2026, he's going to make you eat. Make your body ready to eat by stop eating what you agreed that you weren't going to eat. Because at the end time, the consummation time, that is where it's critical that you eat your manna of bread, your spiritual light. And in order to do that, you have to shed the body of everything that's holding it in a low vibrational state. And the one and the thing that's primarily doing it is meat. That's why he tells you not to eat it. And have you signed, have you inked a contract not to eat it? Start with that. Then you work on getting rid of your starch. Everything that's starched is man-made. Dairy is also from meats. That's where all your dairy comes from the things that you're not supposed to eat. That's a byproduct of those things. Milk from cow, eggs from chicken, and wherever else you're getting it from. Cheese from cow. None of that. Sugar, he didn't give you sugar. They processed it for you. Sugar is in the fruits. You don't need to go process no extra sugar. Brings me to your Passover. Your Passover this year, 2022, starts on April 15th and ends on April 23rd, 2022. How did I get April 15th? I look on the lunar calendar and look for the 14th day, which is April 15th. Then it runs for 7 days. On the 7th day shall be the feast day, which is April 23rd. That's how I'm getting these days. It's also highlighted for you on the right-hand side. Sunset, April 15th of 2022. That's when your Passover starts, when you'll be transitioning from one state of consciousness to another state of consciousness, moving your way from being enslaved by the pharaohs of Egypt, the pharaohs of America, the presidents of America, the political leaders of America, and then you have an ending celebration on April 23rd. And the significance of this day is to celebrate the exodus, the freedom from slavery of the Israelites in modern day Egypt. You see what follows after you're freed? 10 plagues. So know that at this particular time, in a year that's coming up after 2022, these freedom from slavery, complete freedom from America will occur. Then after that occur, it will be followed by some serious plagues, 10 of them hitting America. History repeats itself. Now, don't be confused with the Passover and Easter. Easter was an attempt and is an attempt to confuse you to your Passover. You are given Easter as your Passover day, but it is not. But if you notice, the Jewish people, they're not Jews, they're Jewish, the Ashkenaz, they kept your day for you. So they're celebrating your day, and the church, the Roman Catholics, give you another day to hold on to, Easter. So that's what you were given. Take Easter, and we're going to pull NISAN away from you, but another group of Gentiles, we're going to let them step into your shoes and practice your days because you abandoned your days. But no, Easter is not your day. Go back to the biblical text. Show me where in the Bible it says Easter you should celebrate. Show me. If you show me that, then I'll celebrate it with you. But I know it's not there. One mention of Easter is in the Bible. It doesn't say you should celebrate anything on that day. It was just using it as a point of reference. No Easter exists in Hebrew custom. No Easter exists in Egypt, nor in Ethiopia. Go back to your Passover. That's your day. Let Easter stay with the Catholics and the Christians. You, O house of Israel, you, O house of Jacob, you, O house of Judah, my dark-skinned melanated people across the entire planet, go back to what's yours. You are Egyptian, you are Native Americans, you have the same culture and custom, which were Hebrews. Writer 3, circumcise your male. That was part of the writer that was added to your contract for stop eating meat, for not eating flesh of swines, of animals, of things in the air, of things in the water. Jubilees 15, 11 through 15. And the Lord spoke to Abraham because at that time, this law was added to your contract. This writer was added to your contract. Circumcise the foreskin, and it will be a sign. A sign. It's not the law. It's a sign of eternal ordinance, eternal agreement, eternal law between me and you. You means you, O house of Israel. You, O house of Jacob. You, O Judah. And a son, your son, any born son, on the 8th day, you will circumcise that flesh on every male in your generation. 2 meanings for circumcising your flesh. Yes, it means snipping the skin on your penis. Yes, but that's not the meaning. That's a sign. The true meaning is circumcise that child from eating meat for all their generation. A sign and the actuality. The sign is snipping the skin on the genitals, but the real sign, the real activity is cutting the child off from meat, because you can snip the skin, but you're eating all kind of meat, as we're doing right now. So you're practicing the sign, but you're not practicing the law and the agreement. You have to be conforming to all parts of the agreement, the sign and the actual practice of not eating flesh, because that's what the sign represents. Everyone who has their foreskin off their genital cut is saying that I should not be eating flesh. That's what it means. Don't let these Gentiles fool you anymore, because whoever foreskin is not circumcised on the 8th day shall be uprooted from its family. Whoever has circumcised the foreskin but hasn't circumcised the actual flesh that they're eating also shall be uprooted, because you broke the agreement. The agreement didn't say, oh, just cut the foreskin on the penis. No. It said cut the foreskin and cut the meat that you're eating. No meat. Now it takes us to interpreting Genesis 17 verse 14 correctly. And the uncircumcised, the one who didn't cut himself off from meat, the one who didn't snip the skin off the penis, the man, that's the one with the flesh. The child is the one with the penis. That's why it says man-child, to trick you. But there's 2 different things it's telling you. The child is the sign. The man better make sure he stop eating the flesh. So the uncircumcised man and the uncircumcised child, whose flesh of his foreskin is not cut off, whose penis skin is not cut off, that's the child. And for the man who hasn't cut himself off from eating flesh, that soul shall be cut off from his people. He has broken the agreement. He has broken the agreement. He has broken the agreement. So the child doesn't have any knowledge that he broke the agreement, because it's on the parent to make sure the child is circumcised. But the man, if he uncircumcised himself after he has snipped the penis when he was younger and now he's eating meat, he becomes uncircumcised. That's what it means. Properly interpreted, so there's no trickery. That means you just have to snip the skin on your penis and you're good to go. No! It also means you have to cut the flesh off from your diet. When you look at Genesis 17 verse 14 and you match it up with Leviticus 17 verse 14, is it coincident they're both 17 and 14? No! Telling you they're tied into the same thing. Children of Israel, you shall not eat blood of no manner of flesh. Whosoever eats it shall be cut off. What did it say in Genesis 17 verse 14? Any soul that is uncircumcised, eating flesh, any little boy, if your parents didn't snip your snippety snip on your penis, you shall be cut off. Man, if you're eating and you're eating that flesh, even though your parents cut your skin off, you shall be cut off from the covenant. That's why we have been cut off. Because we're given half-truth, marching us away from the truth, which is telling us, you shall eat the blood of no manner of flesh. It didn't say this and that and that. No manner of flesh, none of the flesh. Because I gave you Genesis 1 verse 29 already. What more do I need to give you on top of that? More than just steer you away so you can go back to Genesis 1 verse 29. Whosoever eateth the flesh shall be cut off. Whosoever is not circumcised, that soul shall be cut off from being a people, from being a nation, if collectively all of Israel is eating their meats. Because you have broken the agreement. Let's compare Leviticus 17 verse 14 with 1 Maccabees 1 verse 15, because the Maccabeans knew what this covenant meant. And the men made themselves uncircumcised and forsook the holy agreement. How can you make yourself uncircumcised if you already cut the penis skin off? Can you patch it on and you become uncircumcised? No, it doesn't mean that. It means they started eating meat. Even though when they were young, their parents snipped the foreskin of the penis off when they were 8 days old, but they went back and they forsook. They gave up the holy agreement and said, we're going to eat meat. And they joined themselves to the heathens that were sold to do mischief and evil. They made themselves uncircumcised. They stopped agreeing with the covenant. They stopped cutting off the flesh, and they start eating all manner of flesh again. And they turned themselves away, violated the covenant, break the covenant, and made themselves cut off from being a person, a people, and a nation. That's what cutting the penis skin means, and that's what it means by circumcised and uncircumcised. So be not fooled anymore by this uncircumcised and who's circumcised and who's not circumcised, because it's all lies. All lies. This is what your new and revised contract now looks like with the writers added. The Most High's responsibility, the Lord agrees to, stays the same. But you have 3 more things that were added to your contract, the 3 writers, which deals with flesh. SHEBUOT, 1st month, 4th month, 7th month, 10th month, you're going to use those days to reconfirm, to renew the contract, renew the agreement that you made in item 1. Item 3, you shall have a Passover to celebrate you being moved out of your affliction back in that time and your affliction that you're in now, because you're going to be moved out of it just as in the past, now is in the present, it's going to happen again. And you shall celebrate the feast of the Passover for 7 days, starting on the 14th day of the 1st month, NISAN, Aviv, all the same name, for the first lunar month of the Egyptian calendar. A couple of days after you celebrate your SHEBUOT, and to show that you're still in agreement with item number 1, that you're not going to eat any flesh at all time, you are going to show a sign by snipping the foreskin of your 8-day-old male child as a sign to show that that child is not going to be given any meat by me as the parent. That's your contract with your 3 writers added. Your contract stays the same. 3 more things related to item number 1. So if you're doing item number 1, you're still good. You just have to renew your agreement, have your feast day, eat, drink, and be merry, and circumcise your 8-day-old child to make sure that you prepare them for a life without flesh. The 2 addendums, we're going to cover that in another message. With that said, absorb what I've just told you about the 3 writers. Stand strong, be strong, stay strong in the words of the Most High and in the words of the Lord Thoth, Melchizedek, Jehovah, who has brought back to knowledge all of the covenant, all of the writers, all of the addendums, because he wants us to make ourselves ready to get all that bread that is raining down on us. Make our vessels ready to accept that bread so we can move into the spiritual light body, light beings that we are going to become if we listen to the words of the Most High and the Lord, if we listen to the instructions of the Lord that he has given us, then you shall be a part of the world to come. Praise to the Most High and the Lord always.